there's no understanding debt, then there's bad debt that comes from not understanding debt. Then there are people who actually understand debt and they understand how to actually move the debt in a way to where things work out in their favors financially from a debt perspective by way of good debt. For an example, real estate. You going in, understanding the risk of building infrastructure from an investor standpoint. You find you a property that costs you XYZ and you put down 25% and up down payment. That is a good debt perspective because now you knowing the risk that's going to take place for you to get to where you're trying to get to financially. And you're taking control of an asset by way of using a good debt strategy. Another good debt strategy dealing with real estate is the FHA route. That 3.5% down payment that you're using, you're putting it into a property in hopes of the property is a duplex and you having a tenant, and that tenant is actually paying a large portion of your monthly mortgage bill. That is a way of good debt. So you have to understand, like, what are you doing with your debt? So I can understand why people miss opportunities because they don't understand debt. They lack financial literacy when it comes down to debt management. That's all you're doing when you're dealing with debt. You're managing a debt. So if credit card companies, lenders, banking institutions say, okay, you've been doing good so far with your cash, when it comes down to you developing a track record with credit, we're going to lend you some unsecured debt, meaning that the debt doesn't have a collateral obligation attached to it. So they give you an unsecured credit card, right? That unsecured credit card is your time to shine as a manager. You're managing a debt. So if they give you $1,000 limit and they telling you you become a high risk factor when you start accessing more than 30% of your overall credit limits, your main thought process is to know that, okay, I have to margin my expenses. I have to understand how I'm going to use this debt. It's $1,000 debt. They're telling me don't go over 30% of XYZ. So I'm knowing that, all right, I'm not finna go over 30%, but I'm going to use the heck out of this debt that they gave me to develop more debt. And it gives you access to more debt by way of good debt management skills. You're managing money. And it's just what it is. It's money management. It's debt management.